Let's go to a single best chart. Here's Brendan.
Regional banks are leaving homebuilders behind. That is the subject of today's single best chart. So Chris Verona, strategist, picked this up.
He's good.
Looking back a year. So he's tracking two indices, the S&P Home Building Index, that is in white there, and the KBW Regional Banking Index, that's in yellow. So they move roughly together, and he's noticed in the last 2 months a divergence. So, you know, lucky for us, we have Robert Albertson from Sandler O'Neill here with us. Does this mean that regional banks could possibly be leaving their dependence on mortgages, or do you read something else into this?
They already left. The mortgage industry, per se, has been essentially nationalized by Washington.
Okay.
American banks no longer hold mortgages like they used to. You look at the reverse up in Canada, they're almost entirely, the portfolio's half mortgages. It's the safest banking system in the country. What you're seeing is the unintended consequence of stimulative policy for housing, where they've only driven up so far the price of homes. They have not driven up home building. They've not driven up construction. Interesting point, though, it's kind of a cup half full, because now we're at the stage where the inventory is so low that it's pretty clear home building will finally take off again. But I think the two are disconnected in that regard.
What has been suppressing new home growth? I don't completely understand that. Sorry, new home building. If the inventory is so low, what's keeping it from popping back?
The construction industry has always been too optimistic and too aggressive. It's hard to get financing at this stage. Remember, the regulators look rather sourly at anything real estate related still. That's been abnormal as well.
Will the mortgage industry come back? I'm not talking for construction, obviously, but home owners. Yeah. And will that, you know, give a boost to our regional and smaller banks?
I certainly hope so. When you think about it, it's probably the safest place you can be as a lender if you do it right. Unfortunately, we were not doing it right for a long time. We were going down to minimal down payments, all kinds of bennies. That's not going to get removed anytime soon. So an average bank looking at mortgages says, why do I want to get into this mess?
Exactly.
And probably get sued by a state attorney general.
But not only that, but in the early 1980s, we enjoyed a housing problem. Thank you, Mr. St. Germain and others. And then we've enjoyed another one, 2006, 7, 8, whatever. There's going to be another one out there. Why would any sane bank want to get involved in the third housing debacle of our professional
I think
career?
You're right, because if you look at a simple data series of home prices versus family income, it was always around 3.5 times, give or take. Then it went up nuts to almost 5. We had the bubble, we had the crash. Now it's gone back up. It's almost 40% back up to its last peak in 05. The only thing we're stimulating is prices. We're not stimulating the fundamental growth in housing, nor are we stimulating, quite frankly, home ownership. That hasn't changed.
I mean, I think there is. Has there been a shift since the crash in the way we think about homes as part of our own portfolios? They're no longer an investment; they're just a place to live.
I think you're touching on something very important, which is after the crisis, the whole attitude about credit, debt changed. It certainly changed for the business community. They were very cautious coming out of that. They were pretty close to losing their ability to live. And I think American consumers have backed off on credit in general, including homes. You see that already in the rising savings rate. Lower gas prices, what do you do with it? I'm going to put it in the bank or somewhere. I'm not going to spend it. There's been an attitude shift, certainly.
When the Fed does begin to raise rates, though, will that incentivize banks to sort of push mortgages again?
No, I don't think it has any relationship to it, Bonnie. It would incentivize consumers to borrow, certainly, quicker, so they don't catch the rising rate. But I don't think it's going to be a factor on banks. Banks are looking at this sector, hoping that they could return to it and have some control over the underwriting standards. But the government has set such a low bar on underwriting in their own portfolio, with 2-3% down payments, etc. They've made it into a dangerous business. It should be the safest business.